Happy Wednesday, witches. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. Had a little bit of a technical issue, and I also have a customer. So I might have to pause and help my customer answer their questions if they have any. But I'm here, and here we go. How is everyone doing this fine, meditative, humid, hot Wednesday? I hope you're doing well. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, Shannon. I'm so happy you're here. All right. So, before we get started, are there any questions that weren't submitted already? We have a list of questions that have been submitted. Thank you. That have actually been submitted, that we will be answering those questions. So, hi, Lucas. Oh, there's the Lucas. Hi. I'm so glad you're feeling well enough to be here with us tonight. That makes my heart happy. It makes me smile. All right. So, do either of you that are on the chat or anyone who has recently joined us have a new question? Because I have a big long list of other questions that were posted on our SerenWitchery group. Are you a part of Facebook? Because if you are, not only do I have a Facebook page, I have a Facebook support group called SerenWitchery. If you go to my Facebook page and look under groups on SerenWitchery, you will find that group. Feel free to join it. That's where people can ask all sorts of questions. And it's not just me that answers. If you're wondering about the energy of the lunar cycle, of the astrology that's going on around us, we have astrologists that are on that list that will answer your questions because they know. I'm not an astrology geek. I'm a healing geek. But I do know enough that when I go to them specifically to ask those questions. I'm feeling a little bit weird and off lately. I'm wondering what's going on with blah, blah, blah. FYI, we're all going through a lot of problems right now because there's a lot of planets in retrograde. A. B. We're between the 7-7 and the Lion's Gate, which is 8-8. And because the Schumer resonance, which is the resonance of the earth in and of itself, has changed, we are getting downloads and uploads. And because of that, we're uber tired right now. We're overwhelmed very easily. So remember to take your time. Remember to breathe and allow yourself the grace that you may, forget something, overlook something, change something and not mean to. So don't try and, overcompensate for it. Okay. All right. So since I'm not seeing any questions come up in the live chat, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our first question. And that is, how did I meet Sekhmet and how do I work with her? All right. Well, I met Sekhmet. Hi, Cynthia. Oh, I'm so glad you can be here. That's awesome. I am very grateful for closed captioning. Hopefully it works properly. So the first question that was given to me was on the Facebook group of SerenWitchery. And that question was, how did I meet Sekhmet and how do I work with her? I met Sekhmet through Freya, the goddess that I worked with before Sekhmet. A lot of witches during their time as a witch, they will actually shift from different goddesses depending on what their needs are. So when most people start their witchcraft journey, I find that most of them start, and I say most, not all, the class that I have right now, all of my students chose Crohn's, which fits where they are in life. But most of the time, when you start your witchcraft journey, you're going to start with a maiden goddess. So like Athena, other maiden goddesses. Then you're going to move to the mother. So that's going to be like Hathor and Bridget and all that other stuff. Then you move on to Crone. So for example, let's talk about Sekhmet. The maiden version of Sekhmet is Bastet or Bast. The mother version of Sekhmet is Hathor. The crone version is Sekhmet. I was working with the goddess Freya because I was in a ritual where we all had masks that were made by a very famous mask maker, and they were all different goddesses. They were absolutely beautiful, just beautiful. I ended up having to back out of that ritual. However, even though I backed out of the ritual, I still had to work with Freya. I had worked with her for 3.5 years, and she came to me with, I've taught you all I know. What you're looking for, because I had started my healing lessons and my healing training by then. Freya told me, what you need now is you need a healing goddess and an older healing goddess. She introduced me to Sekhmet. Whenever you are introduced to a new goddess in witchcraft, it is very, very, very highly recommended that you take the time to research that goddess or god so that you can understand the history, where it comes from, what pantheon are you working for? Is it Egyptian? Is it Celtic? Is it Norse? Is it Japanese? Is it Chinese? They're all different pantheons. Now, some of them can overlap, which they do. Okay. There are some gods and goddesses that are equal in one, like Hecate for the Greek is very similar and very parallel to Trivia in the Roman gods. Okay. So you'll see a lot of not copying, but duplicating, because that culture was separated out. I mean, if you think about it, there was some, like transportation, like boats and stuff like that, but not like we have now. So a lot of these gods and goddesses we didn't even know were actually like one and the same until our cultures were able to start meeting up with each other and recognizing the fact that there are very similar things that are happening between those different gods and goddesses. How do I work with her? Sekhmet and I have an agreement. She helps me with my healings, and I leave her offerings. You can see right here in this corner right here, that is my altar. That is Sekhmet. So when I come in the morning, I will give an offering to her. Whether that's something as simple as burning incense for her and asking her for her help to come and help me with the healing. When I'm in the middle of a healing, how does she communicate? I can hear her in my head. No, I'm not schizophrenic. It does sound kind of schizophrenic, but I'm not. I actually hear spirits, entities, guides, and goddesses, and so on and so forth. So for me, when I hear that, she's the one who guided me through using tuning forks. She said, you need to learn that. That'll help you with your Reiki. And so I did. And she was right. It really, really helped. So I use her often with, I don't understand where this is. And she'll say, stop. And she'll actually walk me through the healing process that I need to focus on while I'm doing that work. So I hope that makes sense to everybody and that everybody kind of gets their answer from that. So now that I've answered that question, I want to see if there's any questions from the 4 audience members that we have watching that I can answer before we move on to another one from the list of things. So I'm going to take a drink while we're waiting to see what the chat says. Sorry, my dog smells customers in the other part, and so she's breathing really heavy. That's not me. Okay, next question. Do I see elves and house fairies? Yes, I see fae, gnomes, brownies, imps, entities. Imps are usually very mischievous entities. Imps like to cause problems. Whereas gnomes, brownies, and fairies can cause problems if you don't know how to properly communicate and interact with them. So, for example, if you want to make friends with fairies and you really want to work on your relationship with the fae, you would want to put out chocolate and milk and honey mixed together, milk and honey mixed together. If you're going to do that, let's talk about magic safety. Okay. If you're going to leave chocolate out for your I love gnomes and have respect for fairies. Cynthia says, yes, absolutely. Fairies and gnomes, they're like cousins, kind of. Okay. So it's kind of like, you know, they're referred to often as the little people or the wee people and stuff like that. And so it's just one of those things where it just depends. So if you're working with the Fae and you leave out chocolate, here's the magical safety. Do you have dogs that like chocolate? Because if you do, they might steal your chocolate and that'll make them sick. So if you do, put it up high. Okay. You don't want them taking all of that. Hold on one second. What's up, babe? 20? 25. 25. And she can get a big one of those. Okay, here. That's what I want. 1 second, guys. There you go. You do that, and then did you grab from which one? Okay.
25.
25 for both because it's a buy one, get one.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry for
No worries. No worries. Thank you so much for your patience. Luckily, I'm making sales while I'm doing this. So, woot, woot. So, you want to think about that milk and honey. Do you really want to leave that down where a cat can get to it? So, try and think of places that you can set these offerings. Gnomes really like, I make a product with goat milk and honey. I place them in a specific place, but I have found them in a completely different place the next morning. It could be Fae. It could be that they really like it. Maybe what you could do is like cut off like a little tiny piece of that soap and leave it for them as an offering. They have to wash up too, right? So when you're making those offerings, whether you're making them to a deity or you're making them to the Fae or to the gnomes, like gnomes like more like twigs and leaves, but they do like fresh water. I mean, fresh, clean water. I mean, we have problems getting fresh, clean water out of our faucets. So leaving them an offering of leaves and sticks and water, that might be something for the gnomes. If you want their help with something, leave them a gift, and with that gift, leave a little note. Lucas asks, what about people like me who are more agnostics towards the god, but still acknowledge them as representing different aspects of natural energy? For that, you are already honoring them, but if you want to make an offering, like for example, I really need help with let's just use an example that's first popping to mind. I have a medical procedure and I want it to really go well. And you're agnostic, but if you have something to give to, like for example, Odin, meat and potatoes, burp, burp, right? So maybe leave him out a little piece of steak. But again, don't leave it out where your puppy or your kitty can get to it because they might eat it. And if they do, and it's safe for them, that's okay. Okay. The gods understand. Okay. They're not like the Abrahamic God, thunder and brimstone from the sky. That's not how it's going to happen. But they might come to you with, they stole my offering. Can I kind of get another one? So that is something that you can do, being agnostic, or just leave it. Leave something for the universe. You don't have to necessarily do it, God. Whether it be a beautiful flower that you just happened to see that had fallen, off, or, the plant was dying. So I went ahead and picked the flower because the plant was dying. You could do something along those lines. Does that help you, Lucas? Absolutely. Okay. And then Cynthia says, read the Fae book. I can send you a picture of the book, Shannon, on different types of Fae, gnomes, and magical beings. Absolutely. Anne Moura, ANNEMOURA. She is a Celtic witch, and she wrote a book about how to create Fae, where the Fae and the gnomes come from. What are they? Fairies are not necessarily Tinkerbell and her pals, okay? A Fae Everything has a fae. Animals have a fae. It's an energy. It's their soul. So plants have a fae. Trees have a fae. Animals have faes. Okay? So what you're doing is you're consciously creating that. So that's where the fairies and the gnomes, they're earth spirits, they're elementals. They take care of the world around us. So if you don't believe in them, you're probably not going to be able to see them. But if you do believe in them, they'll probably appear to you. And you can always ask them to gift you with fae sight or gnome sight or brownie sight. What that means is give me the ability to see the entity. I hope that helps everybody. Okay, so are there any other questions from the beautiful 4 that are watching the live stream, or should I go on to the next question on the list? Okay, hearing crickets. We're going to go ahead on. All right. What do you believe happens to people's soul when they die? Do you believe in reincarnation? I believe in reincarnation because I remember some of my past lives. So the answer to that is yes. I do believe in reincarnation. I believe that your soul has lessons in each lifetime. And if you don't take care of that lesson, you will be sent back until you learn that lesson and can move on in the next lifetime. Where do souls go when they pass away? In the eclectic witchcraft theology that I follow, which I was taught by my elders, is that we have what's called the Summerlands. Summerlands is very akin to heaven. So they go there to rest, to bye. Thank you, Cynthia. We'll have another one next month, and you can watch this one later because we'll post it, okay? It is watchable later. So drive safe. Let's see, what was I saying? Reincarnation. So with reincarnation, I believe that our souls come in with a lesson to learn. And with each reincarnation, our soul becomes more educated because they've gone through those life lessons. So I really do believe that when you pass on, you go to the Summerlands, which heaven, it's a place for you to rest until you've processed this lifetime. Because wowie zowie, I mean, think about it. I'm 54 next week. If I was to die tomorrow, knock on wood, Anubis is not going to be here. So if I was to pass on tomorrow, I would at least know that it would take me at least a few years to process the 53 years that I had on this earth. Then I go off into the Summerland. After the Summerland rest and processing is over, then I would choose to be reborn and to move on to my next life lesson. So that's how I feel about reincarnation and death for humans. Are there any other questions around that? Oh, and by the way, just so everyone knows, we will have the replay of this video in our Facebook group, SerenWitchery, as well. Shannon asks, do you think that there is some truth to the idea that we find the same souls in each life? If there is a life lesson attached, oh yes, absolutely. We will always come in contact with people who meant who are precious to us, or even people who caused us trauma in a past lifetime that we have to process and move on with it. So yes, you will meet other people in this life that you feel, for example, I've met people and the first thought that goes through my head when I see them, haven't spoken to them, have not said hello, haven't introduced ourselves to each other, nothing. First thought through my head is, there you are. I've been looking for you. That's the soul you've known in a past life. Because you have an agreement that in the next life, you will come back and you will work out whatever life lesson, or you will be of support to each other. So for example, I use my own family as an example. When my oldest grandchild was very small, they were 2. They said to me once, Nana, do you remember when I was the daddy and you were the little girl? There's past life. Some of the children who are being born are classified as what we would call crystal children. Crystalline children remember their past lives up until the time that they're almost 5. Sometimes they can remember past 5, but usually at about 5 is when that third eye filter gets totally put in place with, we don't do that. That's not real. That can't happen. Is that understandable by everybody? I mean, I don't want to confuse anybody. But after that 5 years, it's kind of shut off because society doesn't talk about it. Society doesn't do that. We don't believe in that. We don't do this. We don't do that. So as a result of it, we struggle knowing that because, oh, we're not supposed to. Or, oh, we don't believe in that. I can't tell you how many people have come to me saying, I was raised in a family that doesn't believe in ghosts, but I have knives being thrown in my kitchen and there's no one there. I live alone. But they don't believe in ghosts. Now what? All of a sudden they started believing in ghosts with, I can't believe that my religion lied to me. It's not that they lied to you. It's that their perception is different than other people's perception. I don't want anybody to think I'm saying, oh, that's wrong. I try really hard to avoid that statement because what's right for me may not work for you. It's not wrong for you. It just doesn't work for you for whatever reason. So I hope that makes sense. But yes, I do believe in reincarnation. It's also a very Buddhist and Taoist philosophy and theology that there is reincarnation. So, all right. So those answer those 2 questions. Any other questions from the 3 people tuned in today? Shannon, not yet. Give me a minute. That's what I do. Wait. I know I've got them. Just give me a sec. All right. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the next question. So at any time while I'm answering, please go ahead and feel free. Type in your question that you have. Be more than happy to answer. All right. Next question. What happens to the souls of the farmed animals that are slaughtered every day for food? They go to the summer lands. They go over the Rainbow Bridge. They enjoy peace. They enjoy love. They enjoy comfort. And then they decide whether or not they want to reincarnate as a human, as a something else. A lot of the animals who are farmed understand that they're being farmed. Now, there are certain farms in the area that I happen to know of that are run by First Nation or Native American folk, or they're run by people who are spiritual or like me, they're a witch. Now, myself personally, I can't do vegetarianism. I tried. I tried when I was a teenager. I almost became anemic, and I was told because of my blood type, I needed red meat. So I had to come to an agreement with myself that before I eat anything that is of animal byproduct, I'm a lioness. I'm a Leo. I like meat. Sue me. Okay. But when I'm using, before I eat that meat, like today I had a Subway sandwich. It was chicken, bacon, and yummy yummies. Okay. Lots of other vegetables. Here's the thing. A lot of people worry about animals and their souls and what do they do? Did you know that plants have now been proven by us humans? Now, witches have known this for eons. Okay. Did you know that plants are conscious? They know when they're being eaten. They know when they're being picked to be eaten. I follow a very First Nation ideal philosophy. Not that I have, what's the word? Appropriated their stuff, but I take it as an example. And I thank the animal and the vegetables, anything on my plate. I thank them for their sacrifice so that I myself can be healthy, have energy, and produce positive outcomes for the earth, for the environment, for those around me. So that's how I approach anything about the dead animals and stuff like that. Here's the thing, and this is a very American, understand that, American philosophy. Death is scary. In every other country, death is a part of life. You honor the animal, the plant that is willing to sacrifice themselves for you to sustain your body. Because here's the thing. There's only one thing that can sustain you other than food itself, and that's honey. The other thing is water, honey and water. But honey is an animal byproduct as well. We have to learn to live in symbiosis with the earth. So let's think about Dr. Seuss, okay, and the Lorax. Let's just use that as an example, because otherwise I will go off on a tangent on the latest moth that we humans killed with neonicotinoids. All right? So let's look at that. The truffle trees were great. Had they done it differently and respected the trees and respected the environment around the trees, it would have went much better. And the truffle trees wouldn't have had to be reseeded and started from point blank. So we have to consider that. We humans are the most dangerous animal on this planet, period. We cause more destruction, more pollution, and more problems than any other genre or any other genus of animal on the planet. Because we don't live in a symbiotic relationship with the earth. Witches are very much about that symbiotic relationship. And knowing that this animal died so that I may eat. And I am grateful for the sustenance you gave me. Does that mean I'm going to go out and kill every cow I see? No. What it means is I need to be grateful for what the earth provides to me, be it plant, animal, mineral. Doesn't matter. Minerals. Let's talk about the minerals that we use. How many people have a stone necklace on right now? That's taken from the earth. A lot of people consider wearing certain stones as being a rape of the earth. So again, it goes a lot of it, as I always say with witchcraft, is perspective. How do you perceive that? Does that make sense? So I'm really hoping that we're doing so good so far. Yay. Thank you again for joining me. I was really excited that I have viewers. I mean, this is just awesome. I'm so excited. All right, let's move on to the next question because I don't see any other ones. So let me look here. What is your prediction for the future with climate change and the survival of humanity? Excuse me, is the future bleak without lack of water and air that's hard to breathe? And will people turn this around? Wow. You're so very welcome. I love doing this. Thank you, Shannon. That's a big one. The future of our planet is very bleak if we humans don't get our shit together. Okay? Imagine in 10,000 years, the archaeologists find the St. Louis Arch, but they can't figure out where that society went. What happened? How many human societies have already visited the earth, blip themselves out of existence because they destroyed the earth. Here's a clue to all the humans that are living on the face of the earth now. The earth does way better without us on it. Without us on it, there's water, there's a plethora of food, foliage, shade, no more concrete, no more heat. When Al Gore started screaming about climate change in the late 80s was when the human race should have sat up and took notice of what he was saying. He was right on the money. You want to know why it's so hot right now? We have destroyed our atmosphere to the point that we are getting bombarded by electromagnetic pulses from the sun. We're getting solar flares. And because we don't have an atmosphere to protect us from those solar flares, that's why it's god-awful hot outside right now. The atmosphere actually kept us cool as much as it keeps us warm. We're destroying that atmosphere. Is it out? Oh, very much. Al Gore was very much a prophet. He was very much a steward of the earth, and he was recognizing that it was bad, and we had to do. Greta Thunberg, same thing. She's been screaming about this for a decade now. Not one person has bothered to see what she was screaming about. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's like, but wait, the earth can't breathe. Bitch, the earth hasn't been able to breathe in months. Where have you been? The air quality right now is horrific in Portland, in Beaverton specifically. I don't know what it is in other parts of the state right now. But in Portland, Beaverton, Gresham, the air quality is so nasty right now. They're telling people if you have breathing problems, do not come out of your homes. Guess who made that problem? Humans. You drive a car, you're part of the problem. And I am very willing to say I am part of that problem. There are other things we have to look at. Where are we going? If we don't turn it around, we will become extinct. The honeybee population alone should be making us scream. Yet only about a year ago did they make it illegal to spray neonicotinoids, which have killed billions with a B, bees around the world. Now, unless y'all are going to go apply for the job to go out and tap all of the flowers into a cup and collect all the pollen and then take a paintbrush and go and dust every flower for our apples, oranges, bananas, pears, you name it, strawberries even. We don't have that. We've killed off the butterfly, major pollinator for our fruit trees, major. They're endangered. Endangered is that close to extinct. So we, as humans, have a lot of work to do. And we can do that not by preaching at everyone, blah, blah. No. In witchcraft, we do that by treading lightly, harm ye none. Okay? Now, going back to the animals, yes, killing them is harming them. Here's the thing. If you have humane people that you can get your stuff from, which I do happen to know butchers that are Native American descent, that cow is treated like gold, a god, and at the end of its life, it is thanked for everything it provides. The leather, the gelatin, the this, the brain, the eyes, all of it. Lucas says, it's in the choices we make every day. Exactly. Am I going to recycle or am I going to throw it away? Okay. How about gender reveal parties? Let's talk about that in the environment. If I see one more gender reveal party that releases balloons, what are you doing in the environment? The animals eat it and die. Turtles eat it and die in the ocean. Okay. The bladder for water bags. Yeah, exactly. The bladder we use for water bags, using all of it. But when we are not taking care of our environment, how can the animals that we use that are a part of our life cycle to keep us alive, how are they going to be able to be healthy so we can be healthy? So if you think about it, you talk about the extinction and stuff, think about the fact that we've already been battling this. And I started screaming about this to my parents in the late 70s when I was in middle school. Okay. I started, why are we doing this? And I lived in LA where the smog in the LA area, I lived in Riverside. I was an hour south of LA, but we still had horrible smog. And at that point, I was telling my mom and dad, what are we going to do? The earth can't do this. We can't even breathe clean air. What? And then when I came to Oregon, oh my gods, I was like, clean air. My body didn't know what to do with it. I actually had more asthma attacks when I first moved up here because my body didn't know how to process air that was not chunky. Okay. So all of that has to do with harm ye none. Do you recycle as best as you can? Do you make sure that, maybe look at what you're throwing away? What can be recycled? What can be reused? What can be donated instead of just throwing it in a trash pile or a landfill? You want to really know how to help your community best? How about looking up where your trash goes? Okay. So for example, I happen to know that when I took my first witchcraft class and I had to learn about that, I was living in Salem and I did research on where my trash went. My trash in Salem went to the incinerator in Brooks and they burn it. How is that good for the environment? Well, honestly, it's no better than burying it all. Look at the stuff we throw away. Diapers, they're chemically toxic to the earth. Okay. So really, if you look at what you're doing, that's really the only thing you can do. You cannot allow your anxiety of, oh my God, I can't control everyone. No, you can't. There's one person in this world you can control, and only one. It's you, yourself. Okay. So yes, the world, this is a bigger problem, but can I solve this bigger problem by myself? No, but I can make sure that the people in my house, when they go to throw that away, and that's not something that goes in the trash, that goes in recycling. I'm like, hey, by the way, in the future, can you put these in this bin? Because this is recycling. That's the best I can do to help the environment. Pardon me. Wrong pipe. So I hope that answers the question for the person who posted it about predictions for the world. I have grandchildren. I would like to think that my grandchildren will be able to have children and grandchildren of their own and have a beautiful world to live in. We are making differences. We are making strides. However, there's a large population of people who have been convinced and brainwashed that what everything I just said about the earth is fake. Those are the people you're fighting against. Those people, you can't change their minds. They have to change it. Okay? So I can't preach to them and have them change their minds. That's something that they have to come on to with their own realization. For example, one of my parents is climate change isn't real. Climate change is fake news. Really? Because I'm looking at it outside my window and it doesn't seem fake to me at all, Pop. Okay. So just give those kind of things some thought so that you can, where can I make a difference? Where can I make that change to make the world a better place? Even if it's something as simple as recycling your boxes instead of throwing them in the trash. Okay? All right. That was the 2 questions from our list. Do we have any other newer questions? Okay. All right. Well, the last one was, will people turn this around? If we start working together as a community, yes. However, I don't know. Education doesn't teach people to do that. Churches certainly don't teach people to do that, even though they're supposed to be stewards of the earth. I mean, I know people who are very, very religious. They're Catholic, myself personally, the ones I know, they're Catholic, and they don't recycle or anything. Oh, God will take care of it. No, he won't. God will not take care of it. It's your job to take care of it. I'm really curious if those people, when they get up to the pearly gates of like St. Peter, who's supposed to be at the pearly gates with his little list, says, oh, yeah, no, you didn't recycle. No, you didn't take care of the earth. No, you didn't take care of the homeless. No, you were an asshole on the freeway. So guess what? No, you can't come in. Okay. But again, that's also part of the reincarnation. Maybe in this lifetime they came back very closed-minded. So in their next lifetime, they can come in and be more open-minded. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. So let's see. We've been going now for about 45 minutes. So let's give everybody a second. I have 3 actual viewers right now live. So are there any questions from the 3 that are on the live right now? Because we're out of the questions from before. So now it's up to you guys. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and give you some ideas of some events coming up in August. Lucas says, I like to look at it like the old movie. Chances are. Oh, the old movie, chances are. Okay. Absolutely. There's always, choice is everything. It's like I tell people in my readings, we can talk about vein A and vein B, but when you leave, you're offered vein C. I didn't even have that energy coming up. So some of the reading might still be valid, but that choice wasn't even in the reading. So, oh, Made in Heaven. Made in Heaven. Okay. So, but see, the thing is if you, even that movie Made in Heaven, it was all about the choices the person makes when they get here, if I remember correctly. So those are the kind of things that, we really have to pay attention to. Like, for example, people come into my apothecary and they're like, why do you have that big pile? Because that's recycling. I put that in the recycling bin because it's paper, or it's, something recyclable, water bottles or whatever. But I try really hard not to use water bottles because we're using plastic. Okay. At home, I have a water machine that has a refillable bottle, and I started using portable cups, reusable cups, because it's less plastic. It's less plastic in the landfill. And honestly, a lot of the plastics, even though they say they're recyclable, our government won't recycle it. It's too expensive. So when you're looking at, where does my trash go? Also, no, where does your recycling go? How do they look at that? Do they honestly change certain things? Do they actually do it, or do they just hold them and then later put them out in a landfill in the middle of the ocean? Because that's why all of our sea animals are dying, because of the plastics. So with witches and witchcraft, and for people who are aware and doing whatever it is, also making moon water in glass jars. Yeah, exactly. And using that in my tea, cooking more. Absolutely. Lucas says most of the plastics are actually shipped overseas to China to be recycled. Yeah, and how many of it actually make it to China? I have my doubts about that. Only because I know that when I lived in California and Riverside, I went out towards Catalina Island, and there was an entire island of plastic bottles. So, not enough. Yeah, no kidding, right? Not enough. So, we have to look at those kind of things, but it will be up to the humans of whether or not we change that. But we also have the humans that are like, we don't have to. That's a lie. Okay, that goes back to our educational process. Okay, being aware, teaching people environmental safety. I remember when my kids were little, they went to a thing called outdoor school. And when they went to outdoor school, it was a little bit more like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and a lot less like it is now. And I don't even know if they do outdoor school anymore. But we're not taught that. That's supposed to be our parents. Well, in today's economy, with the way that the world works, there's no way for parents to teach their kids that. They're working 3 jobs just to cover rent and food. So where are these kids learning it? From school. They're not learning anything from school except how to pass the state test. So we have to really look at it. There's a lot of our systems that go into that environmental system that we have to really look at. And it's not just a silver bullet quick fix. It's something that will take years. It took us hundreds of years to destroy what we've destroyed. It's going to take us 100 years to get there and get it back. Because our atmosphere is not something that just regenerates. Once it's gone, y'all, it's gone. Okay. So I think I've hit all of that. All right. Any other questions from the 3 viewers? Can you tell us about the event you'll be at? Yes, that was what I was going to be doing next. Thank you for that. I will tell you about what we've got coming up this next month, as well as any workshops. So the first workshop I want to let you know about, let me see here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I don't have my pretty flyer. Okay. So the first workshop is going to be on August 5th. That workshop is going to be called Let's Talk About Magic, Baby. Excuse me. So I work in my area is inside If the Broom Fits. And If the Broom Fits is a metaphysical store where you can come in and get stuff for spells, candles, things that you need for your magical practice. A lot of people come in there and they're like, I'm a baby witch. I hate that term. I know baby witches. It's my 4-year-old grandchild, my 2-year-old grandchild, my 9-year-old godson, and my 6-year-old or almost 7-year-old goddaughter. Those are baby witches, okay? If you are new to witchcraft, myself personally, I find it more respectful to call you novice witches because you've just started. You're novices. You're learning. So let's talk about Magic, Baby is going to be the very, very basics of witchcraft. We're not going to go really deep down. No. This is a 3-hour class from 4 to 7 here at If the Broom Fits on August 5th. It's $30 for a ticket. When I'm done teaching, I will give you the information about my Witchcraft 101 class, which will start in October. If you sign up and you attend Witchcraft 101, your first month, you will get $30, which is the ticket price, off of your tuition for that month. So instead of $100 for the month, it will be $70 for the month. Okay? If you do not have the funds to come to this or any workshop or any classes I give, please contact me. Okay? We do have some scholarship programs, not many, but we do have a couple. Okay? So that's the first one that we're doing. Sorry, my allergies are driving me nuts. I have to apologize for the nose scratching. The very next day on August 6th, SerenWitchery will be debuting at the Eugene Pagan Pride. Now, this is a really big thing for us because we've never gone past Salem. So this will be our first ever Eugene event, and that will be at the Eugene Pagan Pride. That is at the Alton Baker Park, I believe. You can find all of this information on my website, www.SerenWitchery, SerenWitchery.com. On my the first page on my website is all announcements and events. So you can see all of these if you can't remember them or you need to find out where it is and stuff. It is on my Facebook events. It's always on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, or my website. So on the 6th, that is a free entry, but understand that there will be a bunch of vendors and entertainers and stuff like that. So we really do hope you'll come. I believe there's also going to be rituals as well. So you should really join us and say hi, especially if you live in that area. This week, on Friday, I will be at Love Potion Perfumery from 4 to 8 p.m. At Love Potion Perfumery, I only charge $1 a minute. My normal rate is $3 a minute with a 15-minute minimum. So when I work at the Love Potion, I'm actually giving a discount so that you can come in and see if my reading style or stuff like that works for you before you book an amplified Reiki or another reading. Okay? That's this Friday. And then 5 and 6. And then, and on July 30th, I will be at Journeys, Spiritual Center for Your Soul in Salem on the Salem-Dallas Highway. They're going towards Independence off the 22. They're going to be on the left if you're going from Salem. I'll be there from 11 to 4 giving readings, both crystal ball and tarot. I'll also have my tuning fork so that I can give you amplified Reiki testers. Then in August, late August, I might have another class, but I'm not sure yet. I have to talk with my business partner and get some stuff like ironed out. In September, on September 10th, which I'm kind of glad that it's on that day. It's my dad's birthday. But September 10th at Oaks Park, SerenWitchery will be there for the Columbia Willamette Pagan Pride as well. So right now, those are all of the things that we have going on. If you have any questions or you'd like to make an appointment, you can email, call, text. I'm plethora of ways to get a hold of me or, ask me questions. If you can't get a hold of me, you can very easily email SerenWitchery@gmail.com. And then from there, it will be sent either to myself or to my business partner, depending on what you're asking. So we will be doing this again next month in August. Don't know when yet, but we will definitely be getting that date out. If you are not on Facebook, I am on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok. Now, let me explain. TikTok, I'm not as active on, okay? Not since they changed their formats. It doesn't work for me. I will get on and I will try and remind people, but like, for example, today, I completely forgot today's event. Ask me anything. I forgot to tell everybody on my TikTok followers about it because I forget about it because there's so many social media accounts. But I am on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well. And then, like I said at the very beginning, there is a support group under the groups for SerenWitchery, and it's named the same, SerenWitchery, so that it's very easy to find. I try to make it very consistent all across the board. All right. Is there anything I'm missing? Oh, yes. And also, every day at noon, we post, thank you, Shannon. Every day at noon, we post our Moonology reading for the day. So what it is I have this wonderful deck written by Yasmin Bolin. The artwork is by Nix Rowan. And every day I pick a card, and that card is the reading of the day. The feedback that I have gotten from the people who do watch it on a regular basis is, how do you know that's going to happen that day? That's the card that's pulled. So, and I do them a month in advance. And I know that's really weird, but it's just how magic works. I can call in the energy for a specific day and see what it feels like. Sometimes it's right on the money. Sometimes it can be close, but not quite exact. So it really just depends. But the feedback that we've gotten so far from our Moonology readings on YouTube, released at noon every day, is that it's been right on the money and it's helped a lot of people. So please feel free to subscribe, hit the little bell. And if you subscribe, the minute anything that we post, you will be notified so that you can go and watch it. I try to keep them short and sweet. I don't know about you, but when I go and see a reading, I don't want to be there all day. I think they're like maximum 11 minutes. The Moonology reading is always there first, and then all of the events. Oh, a couple of things I forgot. There is a goddess retreat that we will be having. It's called Rediscovering Your Inner Goddess. It is for all levels, novice to expert in witchcraft. This is where we are going to rediscover our inner divine being. Friday the 13th, long ago in history, was the day to honor the feminine divine that resides in us. Witches believe that we not only hold the goddess, but the god as well, so that we have the yin and the yang, and we have balance. So on Friday the 13th, that was considered the day to really celebrate the feminine divine that lives in all beings. Men would dress up like women to honor the women in their life or their goddess that they worshiped. So from the 13th to the 15th, Rediscovering Your Inner Goddess will be a retreat. We are looking out at the Oregon coast right now so that we can get our reservations. Food will be included. Lodging will be included. We will have guided meditations. We will have arts and crafts. When you leave the retreat, you will have in hand to take home with you a mirror that you yourself have decorated, so that you can, if you feel lost and you really need to talk to your goddess and reconnect with your inner feminine divine, you can look in this mirror and reconnect. So that's October 13th through 15th. You can register on the website, www.SerenWitchery.com. So I think that's all for now. I'm really glad you guys all joined me. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys' support, and watch our Instagram and Facebook and TikTok to find out when the next Ask Me Anything will be. And if you missed tonight and you thought of a question, go ahead and post it. If you post it on our posts, we will actually cut, copy, and paste it and do like we did tonight, where I actually go to those questions when we don't have audience questions. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lucas and Shannon, for being here, and the other two people who are viewing as well. Thank you so very much for your time. I really hope that I was able to answer all your questions and that I make you feel more comfortable. So anyway, hope to hear from you soon. Anyway, bye-bye, witches. Happy Wednesday.